beach, but not sure if there's. It looks a little bit ominous in the fact that, first off, you can see a little bit of a hook echo now beginning to form on the leading edge of this particular cell. So that tornado would be located right in this general area, pushing just to the north and east of Smith Point, and will be pushing out over very unpopulated areas of Chambers County. So if those of you out there near Kaplan to the west of High Island, you're going to want to watch this one very closely for a potential waterspout that will become a tornado as it pushes over unpopulated portions of Chambers County. And once again, you can see that hook echo right there beginning to form on the radar, and that tornado would be located right at the head of that hook echo right there as it's just now pushing on shore. So again, not a whole lot going on out here. Wanted to give you the heads up on this. As I put on the velocity scope, in fact, let me slow down the radar and put it into the now mode. We will show you that there is a little bit of strong rotation showing up right there, at least according to this particular velocity. This may actually already be on the ground, as far as on land rather, instead of over the open bay. So a waterspout becoming a tornado south of Double Bayou as it continues to push to the east-southeast at a fairly significant clip. And again, looks like the only towns that may be somewhat impacted would be Kaplan and High Island in about the next 15 to 20 minutes. Again, very unpopulated. We have no confirmation that a tornado has actually touched down. If so, this would have been a waterspout that would have moved on shore. But again, the nature of these type of systems and the nature of these type of tornadoes is that they tend to drop and raise up very quickly. So if it was on the ground, it was probably only on the ground for a short amount of time. Or if it is still on the ground, it probably won't be for much longer. But we're going to continue to watch this very carefully. Once again, a tornado warning in effect for southern and central Chambers County. This does not include Anahuac, and it does not include Double Bayou. This tornado will be passing to the south of Double Bayou and moving into unincorporated, unpopulated areas of Chambers County. So as we zoom on it, once again, you can see there's that rotation showing up right there. And it is pushing this direction to the east-southeast. Now, we are getting some reports from the National Weather Service of damage coming in out of the League City area, something that is unrelated to this particular tornado warning, but we've had a couple of false alarms as far as possible tornadic damage. We've had some reports of a possible tornado up in the Kingwood area that has not been verified, but we are now getting some damage reports, trees and power lines down in the League City area. We do not have a particular cross street on that right now, but something that we're going to continue to watch very carefully. So the National Weather Service here just in, as of right now, they are going to continue this tornado warning until 11:45. At 11:12, which was literally 1 minute ago, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 9 miles south of Anahuac, or 14 miles southeast of Beach City, moving east at about 25 miles per hour. So those of you down in Chambers County, seek shelter immediately. You know how this goes, and these things move through pretty quickly. And especially it being night, you're likely not going to see this until it is right on top of you, if in fact it is on the ground. So again, can't stress enough, we are picking up strong rotation right there. This is going to be south of Double Bayou, east of Smith Point, pushing towards Kaplan, pushing towards High Island. In fact, that tornado warning stops just shy of High Island, but it does include the town of Kaplan. So heads up down there on the Bolivar Peninsula as this heads your direction. Now, so enough about that tornado warning. Just so you know, it is in effect down there as these storms continue to push your general direction. Now, great news, and that is for the city of Houston and areas in northwest Harris County. That is, we are now beginning to catch a little bit of a break as far as the heavy rain goes. We are seeing some light rain out here across portions of central and western Harris County into Fort Bend County, Montgomery County. Liberty County still seeing some very heavy rain, but the areas that really got hammered hard over the last couple of hours, Spring Branch getting out there towards Cypress and Jersey Village, weather beginning to wind down at least for this evening. Now, it does appear that those rain chances are going to ramp back up big time as we get into your Friday and especially on Saturday before this whole system begins to kick on out of here and push on off to the east by the time we get to Mother's Day. So once again this evening, a dark and stormy night, especially for areas east and southeast of downtown Houston, as we expected it to be. It started off a little bit on the northwest side, slowly drifted down into downtown Houston, and is now in our southeast counties, and it has prompted a tornado warning, the only one we've seen so far this evening for areas in Chambers County, south of Double Bayou, getting out towards Kaplan, and High Island. Galveston Island, city of Galveston, you guys are under a severe thunderstorm warning as this complex of storms continues to push to the east and southeast. Now in League City, located right there, we are getting reports of damage. We are getting reports of power lines down, trees down, and possibly some structural damage. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but that is an unconfirmed report that we are getting there out of League City. So let me zoom on in to that area. And there's League City right there, and maybe a little bit of what we call a bounded weak echo region, which is located right here, an indication of a strong storm just to the west and southwest of Baycliff, moving through Dickinson. Let me put on the velocities and see what kind of rotation we're getting, and I'm not really seeing any as those storms push through, but of course this is looking very low in the storm, and the reason why I know that is because it is located very close to the radar site itself. So remember, the beam from the radar is pointed up at a particular angle. So the further away from the radar you are, the higher that beam is looking into the storm. So if there is any rotation in here, it'd be very, very low level rotation, and I'm not seeing any here on the radar at this time. So whatever happened in League City, trees and power lines down, was likely the result of straight line winds and not necessarily tornadic. But we'll continue to watch it throughout the evening as this line of storms continues to race on off to the east at about 25 miles an hour. Okay. Back to the flooding situation here. Southbound feeder road 45 from 518 to 646, flooding in multiple locations. 518 impassable at Highway 3. And let's see, it looks like estimating over 2 inches of rain per hour at Meadow Bend subdivision. So that's what we're seeing right now there on the southeast side of town. Getting lots of reports of hail down in the Clear Lake area. Friendswood picking up 1.57 inches of rain in 15 minutes. Incredible rainfall rates down there. Getting reports of debris into buildings, trees down and power lines down there in the League City area. This would have been on between Highway 3 and 45. And now getting reports of pea-sized hail in Alvin at 901 South Johnson Street. Let me turn on the lightning. Wow, look at that. So these storms are really making a mess of things down here in the southeast counties. So from Anahuac to Baytown to Pasadena, Pearland, a ton of lightning. In fact, let's take a look exactly how many lightning strikes we're dealing with here. We'll draw a box around it. Look at this. Almost 2,800 lightning strikes just in the last 15 minutes. And look at this, the positive strikes here, 1,784 positive strikes. Now, the difference between positive and negative strikes is positive strikes are the big, powerful bolts. Those are the ones that are thick and usually flash a little bit light blue. They're super bright, and those are the ones that really get your attention, those really thick, bright blue bolts. Now, the reason they come out of the top of the cloud. They come out of the positive portion of the cloud. So when you have a thunderstorm building up that is 50, 60,000 feet, you get hail to develop inside those clouds. And as those hailstones cling together, they begin to knock off little charges. And those charges begin to separate. Positive goes to the top of the cloud. The negative charges settle in the middle of the cloud. The bottom of the cloud also collects positive charges. So you have positive, negative, positive. Well, sometimes you have lightning bolts that discharge out of the positive portion of the cloud near the anvil. And when those hit the ground, boy, those are the ones that pack the punch. Those are the ones that set your house on fire. Those are the ones that'll kill you instantly when they hit. So these are not good, and we're getting a lot of those this evening. Almost 1,800 of them out of the 2,700 lightning strikes that we're seeing here across southeast Texas. So it is a dark and stormy night with tons of lightning as these storms continue to march ever so slowly to the east and southeast. Now, We're continuing to monitor this tornado warning in effect until 11:45 for about another 25 minutes or so. We'll take a look at the velocity scope on this. And there you go. We're getting bright rotation right there. And this is headed generally for unincorporated, unpopulated areas of Chambers County. But Kaplan, looks like this will likely move just to the east and northeast of you, but we'll watch it closely as it moves in your direction. Okay, let me clear this off. Now, let's take a look at how much rain we've seen over the last couple of hours here. And I'll switch off the lightning so we're able to see a little better. Over the last, there we go. Okay. So out here, of course, we want to sample this out here in northwest Harris County. Over 6 inches of rain there south of Jersey Village. But even down here on the southeast side of town, already coming in at 3.5 inches there, just north of League City. Pamela Heights at 3.5 inches. Up here just near south of Bush Intercontinental Airport, picking up 3 inches of rain. Out towards Richmond, picking up over 3 inches of rain. Down in the Alvin area, picking up over 2.5 inches of rain, and out near Shore Acres, coming in with almost 3 inches of rain. So it was a very, very stormy night here with lots of rainfall. Now, we're not seeing the kind of accumulations that we saw on Tuesday, where some areas picked up 10, 12, 15 inches of rain. Tonight really kind of capped out around 5 to 6 inches of rain. So good news, and thankfully that these storms did finally get a little bit of a kick and push on off to the south and east and not get too out of control, especially for areas out on the west side near Spring Branch that really caught it on the chin there with some very heavy rain this evening. So more heavy rain is on the way. It looks like we're going to catch a little bit of a break as we head into the overnight hours tonight, and it looks like...
Let's look at what the HRRR is tossing out for the rest of tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, what I was saying looks like we're going to get a bit of a break tomorrow.
That's what it looks like to me.
And it looks like we may get a break in addition to tomorrow. Tomorrow night we may also get a break.
Yeah.
And so we don't have to really worry again until Saturday. Now, I don't know if that's convective feedback.
Let me change the timing here.
Yeah, I don't know if that's another impulse coming in, but even if it is another impulse, that doesn't look nearly as bad as what we've had tonight.
Well, I find it interesting that, as bad as the storms were, we still did not get the 10, 12 inches of rain that we thought we could have gotten.
We got lucky.
We got very lucky.
I'll take it.
We'll take it. But you know what? I mean, look what 6 inches did. I mean, put water in the homes in Spring Branch.
Yeah.
And
those little creeks trying to get into.
Exactly.
So I know there are some people tonight that have some water in their homes. Not a lot of people, but a few people, especially Spring Branch, have water in their homes, and I have experienced that, and I understand that is just the worst. But tonight could have been a lot worse, and we got a little bit lucky that it moved as quickly as it did, even though it moved very slowly. And that's helping us have a whole lot of street flooding, and it's a street flooding emergency, not so much a widespread home flooding emergency.
Now that's interesting.
That's interesting.
That is very interesting.
You know what, Blake? That's not a flood.
It's not a flood, but what worries me is we get into Saturday, and you get that second impulse to move. But
let me set this up here for just a second.
now that's the latest rapid refresh right there.
And then it cuts off there.
And then it cuts off there at the end of Saturday.
All right. So let's do this. Let's go in here. I want a bigger picture. I want it all, so we can really tell the story. Okay. So here we are right now with the rain across.
Hit your select. There you go.
Southeast Texas. I'm getting better at this. Right? So let's push forward in time. That pushes off the coast. So by 4 a.m. So this I love this.
Yeah.
So by 4 a.m. we're done, and we've been done. The heavy rain is off the coast. So tonight is going to come to an end before 4 a.m. That's going to push off the coast, and we'll be done with it.
And what I like about it is it's become a QL quasi-linear convective system.
Okay, sure.
Basically, it's become linear, which means it's out of here. It's going to pick up speed and move on. So
we're going to get a break going into tomorrow morning. Let me clear that off. So let's push this ahead in time. Let's see how this is going to build. So, I mean, So tomorrow morning, maybe a few scattered showers. To me, this looks like convective feedback to the HRRR.
Possibly, or it could be some leftover, some leftover boundaries.
Yeah, and it could be the tail end of that little boundary gets picked back up.
Yeah.
So scatter showers, but that is not the same signature as we
Not
had
at all.
earlier with the forecast.
Not at all.
With the flooding rain. So that doesn't overly worry me. Why can I not press that button? Okay, so tomorrow morning, maybe a few scattered showers. That doesn't look bad. That doesn't look bad. We go into noon. That's not bad.
Nope.
Maybe a few afternoon, heat of the afternoon, 5:30. So this is 5:30 tomorrow, Friday. Maybe some hit or miss thunderstorms. With saturated ground, that's something we'll have to watch.
I'm just wondering if there's not another impulse that tries to sweep in under this right here. I mean, because this kind,
There is.
Yeah.
There's something out here in the upper levels that's going to come through to lift this.
Yeah.
That must be what it's seeing.
I'm thinking so.
But at that point, after tonight, the atmosphere has worked over so much, there's not quite as much energy to work with. Whatever the reason, that's not a flood tomorrow afternoon. That's scattered showers, hopefully. I'm being optimistic here. So the next real chance for tomorrow.
Well, and keep in mind while we're looking at this, we were forecasting 8 to 10 inches of rain over 3 days. We already have gotten 6, so there's your impulse right there.
There it is. Move that so
Yeah.
we can show everybody. So here's what we're looking at. So this is tomorrow afternoon and evening. If you look right here, and come backwards again, follow right there. That's the computer model seeing a little upper level vorticity max.
A what?
Through. A little vort max.
Oh, a what?
A vort max. Did she learn English good? It's a vort max. So as that goes through, yes, that will give us a chance for a few scattered showers tomorrow evening, tomorrow night, but that doesn't look like another big, huge rain event, just scattered thunderstorms. We'll have to watch it with a saturated ground. But go into Saturday morning. So this is our next impulse.
And that's where it cuts right there.
That's where that stops.
Yeah.
I had that set up to show.
Now this is only the HRR, so it only goes out.
Do you have an RPM?
Yes. So click right there.
Yeah. So, but it's on.
Well, no, it just says
that's your
RPM. Yeah.
HRR.
Yeah.
So let's do this. Let's grab. You guys have something you want to? Is it working? Really? I'll put it on. So you know what I'm going to do.
Yep. I'll go ahead and get it set up.
Add the RPM out at the end of that run. Let's see how that. All right. You guys are geniuses. Thank you. Let's see if it works. Well, if you say it works, so this is my own mic, so hopefully you guys can hear me better now, as we have 2 mics going here. So we gotta cut Oh, all right.
Okay,
Oh,
so
thanks.
just in, Fort Bend ISD has closed school for tomorrow. Fort Bend ISD, you guys are closed for tomorrow. You can sleep in, stay off the roads. So.
My son, my high schooler in Cy-Fair was asking me, Dad, is there any chance we're going to miss school tomorrow? He's licking his chops, and I'm thinking, house flooding. It's funny how you see things differently with age. Fort Bend is closed tomorrow. At the moment, Cy-Fair is open. Hey, it's working. We got a mic.
All right, so there you
Thank
go.
you.
So there's the RPM versus the HRR, or the HRR versus RPM. So we start with HRRR.
Yeah, that's tonight. Here we go. Scattered showers tomorrow. Scattered showers tomorrow evening. This is what I'm more concerned about going into Saturday morning.
There's the RPM right there.
Okay, going into the RPM. See, this is where we've got the boundary coming up off the Gulf, and then we've got some sort of impulse sweeping through. That's my next concern.
Yeah.
Is Saturday midday.
Well, here, and if you look carefully, now it's your turn to
Yeah,
swivel.
no problem.
Here's what I'm looking at, and that has caught my eye. First off is going to be the northeast to southwest linear nature of this band. And if you put it into motion, watch how they sort of just hang out there.
Yeah. It
And
hangs.
before it lifts. And that's going to be that window of opportunity. Even if it's 3 or 4 hours until tonight, you still get 4, 5, 6 inches of rain.
So we think the next big rain chance is Saturday afternoon. After tonight.
But I can't totally rule out some heavy rain heading into Friday.
I want to see what the RPM says about tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is turn off the rapid refresh. That's listed under RPM here, right? So here's, this is the RPM. So let's see. So the RPM has this pushing off the coast to 4 a.m., lingering, pushing off. Look how dry it is.
RPM is dry.
That rapid refresh is having some convective feedback issues. Yeah. So that's great.
Great.
This is tomorrow at 10:30 in the morning. That's not rain. Not if I call you.
So fun fact, they told me never pick up the phone or call. He said that.
So here's tomorrow afternoon. I love this. So tomorrow afternoon, you better pick the phone up. Tomorrow afternoon, not a flood. So it looks like we're going to get most of tomorrow to dry out. That's great. This is what I really wanted to see. So now going into tomorrow night, isolated convection at best in the heat of the afternoon and then fizzling out, I think, is what we'll see. It'll be diurnal tomorrow. And then it goes into this mess coming in here. That's Saturday midday.
Yeah.
So Saturday
is the next risk.
So here's what we're saying. You're just joining us. We've got this rain moving right now. We'll look at it in just a minute. It looks like we're going to get a break tomorrow. We will not have another stormy night Friday night. But Saturday midday, that's what our interpretation, our deep dive into.
Well, I'm going to play devil's advocate because I had a thought.
You did.
Which is explain why I'm sweating.
Yes. That and it's 80 degrees up here.
The Storm Prediction Center, Weather Prediction Center, still has a moderate risk of excessive rainfall tomorrow and Saturday. So I'm wondering what they're picking up on.
I think that they just haven't updated yet. That's what I think, because they didn't update us into the moderate risk until late this afternoon.
Right.
So I think they're.
We thought we had the mic issue working. We have a bad echo, and they know what it is. We just have to do one at a time.
Oh, okay. No problem. I'm getting used to talking loud. So let me give you this, and we've almost got it. So when you move into not just a new television studio like we have here in the last couple of months, but everything is new. The building, every cable, every light is brand new. There are things to work out, and one of the things we haven't quite worked out up here is the dual mic, but we will get there. So look, let's take a look at what's happening right now on the radar.
Here, I'll come stand next to you so they can hear you.
All right. And this trend that we did see earlier was encouraging. And it's pushed into the coastal counties. And that is a new tornado warning now. It is Galveston County.
Okay.
And again, these are these little spin-ups that have on the leading edge of that line echo wave pattern.
Yeah. Do you want me to get the studio ready?
No, we're good.
All right.
Everybody's watching this on social right now.
All right. Your mic is ready. Here, let me squeeze in there while you do that, and let me take a look at the weather service and get this. And it wouldn't surprise me, Dave, if we have another tornado warning pop for southeast Brazoria County. What they're looking at is these little notches. Look at that.
Right there. Yeah, that's positive.
And these probably are not producing. They're probably not producing tornadoes, but we had that damage in League City as that big storm over Baytown pushed through. So it's not much. Yeah, it's a little couple.
Let me do this out real quick. And while you talk about it.
Yeah. Not a problem. So we're gonna go with the mic. All right. All right. So real quickly, this is a tornado warning, Galveston County. This is going to cross the bay and across the island here very rapidly. This is a radar-indicated rotation inside the storm. So if you're in the path of this southern Galveston County, across the bay, the west side of Galveston Island, take cover interior room of your home, away from windows, first floor. These storms, these little tornadoes that can occur on the leading edge of these line of thunderstorms are usually what we call gust tornadoes. They are small EF0s, winds 60, 80, 90 miles an hour, and quite often they do not touch the ground at all. But that's the type of circulation that can cause a small tornado. So that's what we're looking at here. Leading edge of the thunderstorms, and all the red here is the heavy rain, which is from Liverpool back to Santa Fe, League City to San Leon, Texas City. It's just about to hit your neighborhood as well, and then across the bay to Smith Point. It has not reached Galveston proper yet. It will get in there during the next 30 minutes. You'll have heavy rain for about a half an hour.
probably at least some minor street ponding, and then that will push on off into the open waters of the Gulf of Mexico. If you get a chance, you can zoom out and put this in motion so we can see exactly what's going on.
So they issued the tornado warning because that little feature, that little knob feature that we were pointing out, is capable of producing brief tornadoes near Bayou Vista, hence the tornado warning. It's interesting that one of the automated weather stations down there just reported a peak wind of 50 knots, which is right there in line with the water spout.
Yeah, that's 60-mile-an-hour water spout what you got there.
What do you need?
I wanted to zoom out. Let's put the line of showers in motion so everybody can see where we stand, how this is moving, how much longer we're going to be into this threat, and when this is going to come to an end. And we've got a couple more hours to go. Yeah, zoom on out, keep going.
You know,
big picture, let's take the warnings off.
Weather is kind of like the in-laws, I was once told. They want to know when it's coming, when they're coming, how bad it will be, when they're leaving.
Most importantly, when are they leaving? So let's answer that. Let's do an hour loop. Now zoom on out. Let's get the whole picture so everybody who's watching from Beaumont to Matagorda Island can see the way this is moving.
In the last 3 hours.
It's been a slow slog to get this to push across the area, but it is moving and it is continuing to push. That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see if this is still pushing toward the coastal counties, and it is. And every now and then it may get a little spin up here, a little wind damage. Every time you get a little cell merger right there, watch at the end of this, watch right there, a little cell merger in Matagorda County. That's when you can get some very brief violent winds, but very brief and very isolated. Even this stuff toward Victoria, that's pushing toward Matagorda Bay. That should just continue on. Matagorda County may get some wind with that over the next hour or two, but that will be the worst of it. Well, that stretches down there. That's another little piece of it right here.
So, really, don't let your guard down. Angleton, Lake Jackson, Flash, down in Brazoria County. I mean, you guys still have hours to go yet before this is over with. I mean, keep in mind, this set fire that here at around 6 o'clock this evening, and it is now 11:30, and it is just now moving out of Harris County. So you had 3 hours to the time now. We're talking 2, 3 o'clock in the morning before it looks like it's finally begins to push off the coast.
That's what the rapid refresh is suggesting. Around 2 a.m. this should be. And well, look, this is not far from pushing off the coast.
Right.
I mean, here it is. But yeah, Angleton, I can see that. Angleton, Alvin, yeah, that's a little concerning. That's not nearly as severe as it was earlier. But if you're in our coastal counties, Brazoria, Matagorda, Angleton, Alvin, Freeport, Surfside, anywhere across Matagorda Bay, you don't want to be over the water. Let that push on through here. I think the best news is most of Harris County now only has a few sprinkles and light rain and some flashes of cloud lightning. Do we have another little? Is that weather one?
Yeah.
It's been a little persnickety today.
It has.
Give it just a moment. There we go.
So let me pull this up here. Let me turn on the warnings. Looks like they may have just issued another one. They did. No.
It's
the same. It's still high out there.
It's that same. Oh, look at the hook.
Yeah.
Look at the hook.
Let me put it in now mode.
Yeah, put it in now. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That may have verified. That may be on the ground right now, David.
So there.
Wow. Look at that. Let's take a look at the velocities here.
Yeah.
73 miles an hour.
Okay, no,
so there's a
round
brain.
it up. Okay.
So yeah, that may have verified. Guys, if you're watching us from Southeast Chambers County, if you are in High Island, it is time to seek shelter, as this storm has become pretty punchy here in the last 15 minutes. And this tornado, while we have not verified if it's on the ground, based on radar, it certainly appears that one may be on the ground right now as it pushes towards Highway 124 towards High Island. So again, the city of High Island is in this tornado warning. And what we're looking at here, what David is circling, this is your rear flank downdraft right here. And that in and of itself can do damage. But that tornado, if there is one, is going to be located right here at the head of this hook as it continues to press on off to the east, southeast. So High Island, you guys are right in the path of this. Dave, that looks like a pretty good signature to me.
Minimum, High Island, get ready for some gusty straight line winds.
Yes.
At a minimum. So High Island, take cover, make sure you're inside. It's 11:30 at night. You're probably inside.
And now it's until midnight.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. That's a nice little signature there. Clearly, we've got a couplet with this.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. So if at a bare minimum you're going to get some straight line winds here, probably 60 to 70 miles an hour.
Easily with that, yeah. And you know, the other thing is, A, it's late. You're not going to see it. And B, oftentimes this is going to be...
That looks...
Dion?
You want me to try again?
Yeah. It's not going to work with two mics here. We have to just use one
No,
mic.
I've got a delay and an echo.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dion.
Hey, can we do this in the studio?
We can.
Okay.
We can. This is better.
Yeah. The only
But,
problem is we're not hearing both of you. I mean, we're not hearing you.
Okay.
We're not hearing
So let's go down to the studio.
Okay.
Say what you do. Put up a loop, and we'll walk down and we'll mic up.
Okay. All right, we're going to loop it. And guys, if you're watching me on social media right now, I'm going to get off here for about 3 seconds, and I'm going to jog down to the studio since we may actually have some sort of tornado on the ground. We're going to hop on TV, and we'll see you on the air here literally in about 5 minutes. So join me on the TV side and David Paul as well.
Social side.
Social side.
All the-
Social
all
side. So, all right, give us just a second.
All right, good morning, everybody. Just tweeting out this line of thunderstorms racing off the coast now, just pushing into Galveston Island. You can expect wind gusts there of 40 to 50, maybe a 60-mile-an-hour gust. Galveston County, Galveston Island, Bolivar Peninsula, to High Island, where we may have wind gusts to 70 as this races off the coast. The good news is this is about to push off over the waters of the Gulf of Mexico, and we'll be done with it within the next hour or so. But for about the next hour, Galveston and the coast, you're going to take a hard hit. I'm sitting here. We are live. Meteorologist Blake Matthews sitting right next to me here. We're watching the radar together. You can zoom in, and there goes that line of storms.
Yeah, zoom in real quick, David, near High Island. We've got some viewers over there. That tornado warning remains in effect. Certainly the best signature we've seen, TVS-wise, tornado vortex signature we've seen so far this evening. But I want to emphasize the tornado risk is very low as this line continues to push off. In fact, looking at the latest sweep here, it doesn't look as impressive as it did just a few moments ago.
I think what we've got here are straight line winds.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me as well.
But those can be tornadic strength. Those can go up to 60, 70, 80 miles an hour. So High Island, you're taking a hard blow right now with strong winds from that leading edge of that line of thunderstorms. Also, see that back toward Double Bayou, maybe a little bit of hail, maybe a little hail shaft right in here. We've had hail with this up to the size of golf balls, even larger at times. So there may be hail there in Chambers County as well.
Yeah, we've had a couple of reports of tennis ball size hail actually this evening, which is so unusual because normally we do not have the type of environment that would support hail that size. Nope. So this is truly a kind of a superlative event that has taken place here. By the way, I want to kind of shift focus here, and of course, Galveston County, Chambers County, Brazoria, Matagorda, we are watching your areas very closely as this line pushes through. But David, we're getting some pretty serious reports now coming in out there on Corpus Christi Street. I'm not exactly sure where that is. 14,000 block of Corpus Christi. We've got first floor units of apartments that are completely flooded and 16 persons being evacuated. Hunting Bayou at I-10 is near Bankful. Houses are potentially flooding in subdivisions just upstream. We've also got, Little Cypress at Becker over banks as well. And the latest report that we're getting is 5.76 inches of rain. So basically 6 inches of rain in 3 hours on Lower Greens Bayou near I-10. So the I-10 corridor this evening has really taken it on the chin as far as the heaviest rain. Now, this 14,000 block of Corpus Christi Street.
That's the east side.
Yes, the east side.
That must have happened when that rain went through the east side that shut down I-10 at McCarty.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it. That's probably involved with Halls Bayou as well.
Well, that's the watersheds we were talking about earlier. When you don't necessarily have to have heavy rain falling over your area. If it's falling upstream and you share the same watershed, and what a watershed is basically is a giant funnel. And if a raindrop falls anywhere within that funnel, it all gets pushed into the same stream, and it can cause the bayous to rise up pretty rapidly. So getting back down towards the coast really just looks like a heavy rain threat. Lots of lightning. At one point, David, just about 20 minutes ago, I was looking at the lightning. 2,800 lightning strikes in 15 minutes.
That's just an indication of how intense the thunderstorms are, and a great indication, a great tool. So here we are. Here's the forecast. In fact, if you want a space bar, I can walk out here.
Yeah, and real quick, this just in from the National Weather Service. Severe thunderstorm warning just issued for Brazoria, Chambers, and Galveston County until 12:45. By the way, White Oak Bayou at Heights is now at Bankful.
White Oak Bayou at Heights. So that's where if it comes up any higher, it goes out onto the grassy park in that area, which is good. There are no homes there, but it's I believe it's Bankful. Tremendous amount of rain across Harris County tonight. 4, 5, 6, 7 inches on the west side of Harris County, and now that's racing down the bayous. And for the most part, they've done their job, but some of them have come out of their banks. Halls Bayou, Little Cypress up in northwest Harris County near Hockley as well. The little creeks in west Harris County in the Spring Branch area where we, had tremendous street flooding earlier. So this is the forecast. So here we are now with the storms transitioning into the coastal counties. By 2 a.m., this has it actually where it is now. So the computer model is a little bit behind, but you get the idea. It's all going to push offshore here. And as we discussed earlier, this new development showing here on the computer model at 8 a.m. is probably just what we call convective feedback and is not likely to happen. This is the rapid refresh, which does this sometimes. It looks like tomorrow, we're going to get a break tomorrow is what it looks like after we get this stuff pushed off here tonight. Here we go into tomorrow evening. That's looking really encouraging, so we're going to get multiple hours for the bayous to do their job and hopefully drain out at least some before this next round comes in, which is going to be Saturday in the middle of the day. It looks like a good chance for widespread scattered showers and thunderstorms. Will it be enough to cause another flooding concern on Saturday midday? It's possible, so we'll be watching it very carefully. After that, after Saturday midday, which looks like the next round of rain, it scoots out of here. Stay home, stay off the roads. The street flooding is massive across the area this evening. As we've mentioned, just for example, I-10 east at McCarty, we've had to shut down the freeway there because of high water. Things will wind down after 2 a.m. In fact, they're winding down in Harris County right now. We've still got light rain and drizzle, but nothing severe. This is where all the bad stuff is, pressing through Galveston and southern Brazoria County and Chambers County and pressing off the coast. And watch H-Town Rush, our morning show, 4:30 to 7 in the morning. You do not want to go anywhere before you get up and let us give you the 411 on what's going on outside as far as what roads are closed, what roads are open, if there are any high water spots for your commute. We'll have all that information on the TV side, 4:30 to 7 H-Town Rush. A couple of severe thunderstorm warnings now for Chambers County, Bolivar Peninsula, Crystal Beach, Galveston, Jamaica Beach, Redfish Cove, down to Sabine Pass. You're involved in that severe thunderstorm warning. It means you're going to get the chance for some straight line winds and some hail as that heavy rain pushes off the coast. Still have an active tornado warning. That is for High Island in Chambers County until midnight tonight. We're just about there. After that, they're probably going to let that expire. And you can see everything is, it's not there yet, but it's pushing toward and eventually will push off the coast. It's just going to take another couple of hours to do so. Blake, this does catch my eye down here. Anybody near Matagorda Bay right now, if you're watching near Matagorda Bay, that's actually where some of the worst of the weather is happening right now. Here's Matagorda Bay, there's Palacios, Bloomington, Port Lavaca. This is bowed out. See the shape of it? It's bent. That's a bow echo. So there are some very strong straight line winds with that batch of storms heading west to east. All interests in Matagorda Bay need to be inside and locked down as that will blow through here. It wouldn't surprise me if we had winds 40, 50, 60 miles an hour. Blake's running the scope. Blake, you want to put up some of the...
That's what I was doing.
Yeah, 63 mile an hour. Now that's velocity estimated well above the surface. You extrapolate that down to the surface and it could easily be a wind gust of 40 or 50. And over the open water of Matagorda Bay, that can easily cause some damage. So wind damage, at least minor, is quite likely here. Matagorda County, Matagorda Bay, Port Lavaca, Vanderbilt, Seadrift to Palacios, Blessing, Wadsworth, that's all racing in your direction. These are severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. Not tornadic winds, but straight line winds coming across Matagorda Bay, Palacios. That is a flood advisory for northern portions of Matagorda County, western Brazoria County, Angleton. You're in a flash flood warning, it looks like. Up and down 288, we had heavy rain come through earlier, now a little bit more, and so there's lots of high water spots on the roadways.
Real quick, David,
yeah.
Just coming in, the tornado warning in Chambers County is going to be allowed to expire, and this just in, Buffalo Bayou downtown is now 3 feet below bank full.
You know, go to the Harris County flood warning, and I want to see if that's still rising or if it's cresting.
Yeah.
So again, just to reiterate what Blake just said, tornado warning Chambers County is going to expire. Buffalo Bayou near downtown, just 3 feet below bank full.
It is still rising, and it's rising rapidly.
So that's all that water that fell in Harris County. You know what I want to do? Let's put up the rain totals across Harris County.
Yeah, in fact, you can see how flashy it is.
Oh yeah.
And
it's starting to. It may or may not reach top of bank. My money's on it not reaching top of bank.
It'll be close.
All right, let's put up rain totals. It has been a tremendously stormy night. This may have been one of the most well-predicted flash flooding threat nights that we've had in a while. We knew it was coming. Tuesday was the surprise.
It was.
10 to 12 inches of rain in one night. That was not expected. This was, and what I'm going to do is clean this off. and we'll load in some new rain totals here.
Well, and and the thing is, it's kind of humorous, but if you're new to the Houston area, it rains here, and when most areas say you get 1 to 2 inches of rain, that's a big deal for most parts of the country. Here, call me when we get 20. That's.
So real quickly, you know why it rains here so much?
Oh boy.
2 things: the Rocky Mountains. I'm trying to draw the Rocky Mountains. The Rocky Mountains and the Gulf of Mexico. Rocky Mountains, the winds come over the Rockies, you get low pressure forming, and it pulls moisture off the Gulf, and it interacts and gives us all this heavy rain. That is the short story on why it rains so much. It's 2 things. It's the Gulf of Mexico and the Rocky Mountains and our position thereof.
It definitely rains here.
All right, so let's see how much rain we've had tonight. This is the last 12 hours, so this is what fell today. Spring Branch.
Yeah, 6.1.
So all of that is going into Buffalo Bayou.
Yeah.
That's why Buffalo Bayou is rising. Here's your White Oak Bayou water, 5 inches in the White Oak. That's why it's down there near the heights. It's coming up to near Bankfull as well. Aldine area. We'll get a closer view. Aldine, you're up here 4 or 5 inches, 4.5 inches. Again, there's.
You could pull in my watershed graphic and explain the watersheds if you had time.
I do love watersheds and all this stuff. So all this stuff out here on the west side, that is what is now flowing into Buffalo Bayou. All of that. And that's how many square miles had 5 inches of rain across it?
Big chunk.
I mean, maybe that's 30 square miles. No, it's
more than that. Yeah, my gosh,
miles.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what are we, 10 by 10 here? So let's just call it 90 square miles. We'll be conservative. And so what you've got here is now Buffalo Bayou, right in here, as it tries to get into right here, the ship channel, is trying to carry all that water, and so it's rising. So it's still within its banks. In fact, while that's up, I'm going to check Buffalo Bayou here real quickly.
I'm going to look at the latest, see if the 0Z model is in. And it is.
So Buffalo Bayou at the Beltway. I'm looking at the information here. It's crested. It's falling. White Oak Bayou at heights. Yeah, right at top of bank, but it's cresting. We are just dodging the major bayou flooding bullet here, I think. Buffalo Bayou at Shepherd, rising, but still within its banks by 7 feet. We're good there.
And you know what, David? I'm looking at the very latest 0Z GFS run here, and I'm encouraged by what I'm seeing here, especially heading into Saturday as well. I mean, so I'll let you take a look at it, but that's
it's lost that convective feedback.
It's lost the convective feedback.
Good. All right, so that's where the heaviest rain has been today, and that's why Buffalo Bayou is near bank full in spots. White Oak Bayou near bank full at heights. Over here on the east side, Halls Bayou has had too much rain. It's come out of its banks. There are some homes that are threatened there. Greens Bayou watershed here. That's running high as well. Let me check Greens Bayou real quick. I've drawn some squiggly lines there. So Greens at 59.
Pretty close.
We're about we're a foot and a half, 2 feet below the top of the bank, but it's cresting. That means it's stopping its rise. I mean, I think we dodged a major bayou flood.
It stopped raining just by about an hour.
It stopped raining just in time. All right, enough of this. Let me look at the rain. Let's see where that rain is. Good grief. These flooding events in Houston.
Yeah, well, it snows in Minneapolis.
That's a good point. All right, so here we go, and it's continuing to push toward the coast.
And I have to give really the HRR a lot of credit. It's handled this pretty well. I mean, the placement's a little off, but the timing has been pretty spot on.
Blake is giving credit to a computer model, the rapid refresh model. Yeah, as should be. It's done a great job for us tonight. Okay, so here's where we stand. Houston, Harris County, the rain has backed off. For the most part, it's pretty much come to an end. If this were to back build into Houston and Harris County, we would have a huge problem. But at the moment, that's not what's happening. At the moment, it's pushing toward the coast, and it looks like it will stay pushing toward the coast. All the lightning is where the heavy rain is. Galveston County, Chambers County, Brazoria County, down to Matagorda County, Matagorda Bay. That's a mean bunch of thunderstorms coming across Matagorda Bay right now. You can expect wind gusts of 50 or above there right now. But after that, that should take it off the coast. We just need to get this over the open water. We can shut this down. Expect street flooding in Galveston County, Texas City, Lamarck, Hitchcock, Bayou Vista. There will be high water on the roads there for the next hour or two as that rain has come through with the rainfall rates of 3-4 inches per hour. Chambers County, the worst is pushing through you right now. Beaumont, hello Beaumont viewers on Facebook, Twitter, and KHCU.com. Oh, and YouTube. That's pushing in your direction. You're going to get very heavy rain. Expect at least street flooding in Beaumont. And so it has been for Houston and Harris County proper a huge street flooding event tonight. And only a few homes have been flooded. I know there's an apartment complex. Where was that apartment complex?
Corpus Christi Street, 14,000 block of Corpus Christi Street.
Which appears to be in the Halls Bayou watershed. That's on the east side, just north of I-10. There's an apartment complex where the first floor is taken on water, and they've had to evacuate the first floor of an apartment complex, which you can imagine is very upsetting to folks who have to go through that. Yeah, let's do it. Live picture of Galveston Seawall. And there it is. You can see the sheets of rain. Look at this. You can see the sheets of rain, the sheeting action. There goes a brave soul. Hang on to that wheel, my friend.
Yeah, probably wishing they were at home. They were probably stuck on I-10.
They're racing down there.
Yeah, they are.
They're like whatever down there on Seawall Boulevard.
Well,
you know, if you can get Transtar I-10 at McCarty, oh, there it is. I asked for it, it appears. I-10 East at McCarty. There are some very upset people right now sitting in traffic on I-10 at McCarty. So this is the east side. This is I-10. Halls Bayou watershed is just to the north side of that. I assume we're looking outbound. But that is just, they're going to be sitting here for a long, long time tonight. That is just a place I'm glad I'm not. Earlier in the day, I know there's no way that everybody could hear the message, but the mayor said just go home after work and stay off the roads. That's the best thing you can do.
So they have issued a flood warning now. Little Cypress Creek near Becker Road. That was a trouble spot earlier.
Northwest Harris County.
Northwest Harris County.
Right. That's up near Hockley.
Yeah, it is.
So Little Cypress Creek near Becker is notorious for being the spot that floods.
Yeah.
So there will be some high water spots Northwest Harris County, Becker Road. You live up there, you know Little Cypress Creek. So Texas City still getting heavy rain. There's going to be some street flooding there in Texas City right now. Heavy rain pushing off the coast. There it goes. Just can't get out of here fast enough. Angleton, Alvin, Freeport, 288, Brazoria County, heavy rain. But the good news is up here in Northwest Harris County, that is light rain. This is not the type of rain that's going to make anything worse. I would be very concerned if we were seeing more stuff back building and coming in here, but we're not. So we were talking about Little Cypress Creek. So that's right up here near Hockley, Little Cypress Creek, and that's where it's come out of its bank. So you get up west of the 99 connector in the little spot up here, that's where Little Cypress Creek is out of its banks. The rest of the Cypress Creek network is doing fine, but Little Cypress Creek up there in Northwest Harris County is notorious. I'm very glad to see this stuff still pushing toward the coast, not being able to build back into Houston. That's good. Cloud-to-cloud lightning there near Gulf Crest, Pasadena. The lightning has been tremendous. When you see lightning like this, it means you've got tremendous up and down motion inside the storm. That's called convection. That's why we had the hail. You get a raindrop that gets pushed up in the storm, it freezes. As it comes down, it gets caught in an updraft, goes up in the storm, gets bigger, and that's why they eventually grew to golf ball or bigger size at times earlier today. Look at the number of strikes, Blake.
Yeah, and you know, it doesn't surprise me because we've had a lot of hail, and the reason why you get a lot of lightning strikes is because these hailstones are forming in the cloud. They bump into each other, and as they bump into each other, that ice knocks charges off. and the positive strikes go to the top and the bottom of the cloud, and the negative strikes sit in the middle of the cloud, and you get the difference in charge between the ground and the cloud, and lightning. And that's often an indication. You get lightning, that is your first sign you got problems.
You know how you pick up a battery and it's got that plus on the top and the negative on the bottom? That's what happens to the cloud, only the cloud is,
60,000 feet.
60,000 feet, the size of a mountain range. It becomes a gigantic battery. And that's why we get these huge releases of electricity, because it literally is like a gigantic battery. These negative strikes, almost 200 of them, those are the bad boys. The negative strikes usually jump off the top of the cloud, jump from 60,000 feet out away from the storm down to the ground. Those are the ones that can be very dangerous and deadly, those negative strikes, and an indication of a tremendously convective, powerful line of thunderstorms. Still heavy rain, Galveston County, Texas City. The leading edge is now pushed offshore, so that's pushing south. Hey, Jason, if you want to pop up that shot of Galveston again, I want to see. Yeah, I mean, you can see the wind just pushing. That's that line of storms just racing off the coast, lightning and thunder, and these guys still driving in it, and still driving.
That's probably the same guy.
Still driving at a pretty good clip. I mean, my goodness. Well, it's Thursday night. We had a couple of playoff games tonight. They may have been out.
True, yeah.
You do not want to be out in this Galveston. My goodness.
Yeah, it's coming down. Kind of reminds me of what Ike was on its final approach down there before we lost all the cameras.
Yeah. Yep. So this is the offshore wind as those line of thunderstorms are pushing through. So you've seen the worst of it now, Galveston. The worst is now actually a mile offshore, the leading edge of it. There it is on the radar. There's the leading edge. It's offshore. You're getting that offshore flow now. Radar beam updating, the sweep updating, the lightning strikes in the data. Jamaica Beach, it's a rough night, Indian Beach, but you're going to be okay as it races offshore. Street flooding is likely. At the moment, I don't think Galveston has evolved at any flash flood. Pop the warnings, the watch warnings up on this real quick.
Yeah.
And let's see if we've got, I'm sure, yeah, it's a severe thunderstorm warning. So general thunderstorm conditions there with wind gusts that may exceed 57 miles an hour.
Actually, it doesn't look all that impressive on the velocity either, to be honest with you.
No.
I mean, I could sample here over the island, 34 miles an hour, and that's what, well, it's not too far from the radar side.
It's fairly close to the surface.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good reading. So winds are there, sustained at like 20, 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, a little stronger up there northeast of League City, but
yep.
Anyways.
But I think the best news is this continues to push toward the coast. Believe it or not, it's winding down. I'm not seeing, put on the hail track real quick, I'm not seeing those hail cores like we saw earlier.
Well, I would assume that's why the severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect, because we've had very isolated amounts of wind damage, but the hail has been relentless.
Yeah, that's a spot. That's a possibility of some hail there. That's just over Galveston Bay, it looks like.
Yeah, and it's just over severe threshold there.
Yeah, that's golf ball size. It's an half. Yeah, that's golf ball size. It's an half would be golf ball size.
Yeah, but a lot of this can be rain contaminated as well.
That's right. Again, this is anything you see that's estimated by radar can be not exactly what's happening. That's why your pictures that you take of hail or wind damage or funnel clouds are so important to the product that we have, the information that we can then share with everybody. Your pictures, your eyeballs on the ground, you at home become part of the weather team. Anytime you take a picture and upload it to web@khou.com.
So here you go. We have a 2 miles northeast of Stingery down on Galveston Island, 51-mile-an-hour wind gust just now.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it as it was pushing off, probably just as that leading edge was pushing off.
Yeah.
And now it's settled down to a more comfortable sustained wind at 30 miles an hour out of the northwest. It is just one stormy night. It's dreadful outside. It's absolutely dreadful. Things are not quite as bad as they were earlier, which is why we're stepping back a little bit from our severe tone. That is still a mean line of thunderstorms, but it's not quite as strong as it was. It's weakening a little bit. Still some strong wind gusts, but once we get the leading edge off the coast, we're going to be able to back off.
So here we go. Let's zoom into Clear Creek at I-45, now reported to be
was going to say
1 foot below bank full.
that doesn't surprise me. Clear Creek is notorious. That's right there on
Yeah.
the county line on the south side.
It is, yep. And
Let me get a quick reading on that.
Armand Bayou at Genoa Red Bluff is over banks now.
Armand Bayou.
And so that forms the county line between Galveston and Harris, Clear Creek.
So here's Clear Creek. Clear Creek.
Clear Creek.
Thank you. What time is it? Okay, there at 288, it's still got several feet to go, so we're good.
Yeah, but again, looking at that gauge there, it's almost cresting.
Yeah, Parallel Parkway.
Ooh, wow.
The further you get downstream, so we're just looking at, you've only got a couple of feet below. This is what they just tweeted out. What did they say, 2 feet below the top of the bank, Clear Creek at Pearland Parkway. So that's concerning. Let's see what we're doing here. Clear Creek at Country Club. Let's look at that. Still well.
Yeah,
still
it's
way
doing
below.
well. It looks like the bayous have done their job.
Yeah.
Truly. And, you know, even some of the streets that are flooding out there, you have to understand that, you know, when the city builds these streets, they are meant to flood. They are meant to hold water, draw the water away from the houses. So it looks like everything has pretty much worked the way it was intended to tonight.
So I want to show you the project that Blake has been working on. This was the project. This is what I.
Is this what I get the golf clap for?
Yep, you get a golf clap for this. So I'm going to turn off the radar, and I've got your files in here. So we know here, and Blake and I talk about this all the time, that flooding, bayou flooding, and river flooding is like the #1 weather threat that we face. So we've got the rivers and bayous on the map. So when we're talking about these bayous, we know we got you. We know exactly what we're looking at and what we're talking about. So this is, a lot of times we just use this as a work map. So we'll look at where the rain is and we're like, aha, well this is Cypress Creek and Little Cypress, so we know it's in the watershed there. And of course we got Spring Creek up in here. These are the little creeks, the little feeder creeks that flooded in the Memorial Villages on the north of I-10 tonight. This is the Bear Creek area.
Spring Branch.
Yeah, Spring Branch, thank you. One of these is probably Bear Creek, and the park's right here, and then that feeds into Buffalo Bayou. So everything that falls here in West Harris County goes into the Buffalo Bayou watershed. So that's why, you know, we had 6.5 inches of rain here, but we've got Buffalo Bayou near downtown that's near bank full, because all that water is flowing down the bayou through Memorial and into downtown on its way through downtown to the ship channel. The water that falls up here, a lot of it in Northwest Harris County, hits the White Oak Bayou watershed, and down it goes White Oak Bayou. We had a widespread 4 to 4.5 inches of rain near Jersey Village, headwaters of White Oak, and that water has come down, and that's why White Oak at Heights right now is near bank full. Greens Bayou again, Halls Bayou as well on the east side. Greens Bayou near bank full at 59, but it looks like it's crested. And that eventually feeds down all into Buffalo Bayou and into the Houston Ship Channel. That's the ship channel that ends up in Galveston Bay. So all these bayous in Harris County, most of them are just trying to get water to the ship channel and Galveston Bay as quickly as possible. Here are the rivers. Trinity, which goes all the way up to Dallas. So it can rain heavily in Dallas, and we end up getting that heavy rain and a flood in Liberty because of heavy rain up in Dallas. And go ahead and turn on that Spring and Cypress watershed. Pick one. Pick the White Oak watershed or whatever.
Okay.
Pick one. So what Blake has also done is done some actual work. Listen, getting people to do actual work these days, I applaud that with a golf clap. So Blake has highlighted these watersheds. So if a drop of rain falls here, it's going to end up in the Cypress Creek or Spring Creek watershed. You know, you've combined the watersheds here. Is that the same?
That's the same one. That is the Spring Creek watershed.
Spring Creek? Well, I guess Cypress Creek, because it ends up in Spring Creek right here.
Yes.
So all of it ends up in Spring Creek. So Cypress Creek is just a feeder creek into Spring Creek. And I can tell you that right here west of I-45, right behind the golf course, there's a good spot to go fishing. You just catch a lot of fish there.
And this is the Greens Bayou watershed.
Yep, here's Greens Bayou. So Greens and Halls. I believe it's Greens and Halls. Greens Bayou is right here. That's Greens Bayou. I know Greens Bayou I know this section of Greens Bayou right here really well because that is where Rio Bravo Motocross Park is. That's where I ride my dirt bike.
And
right
this is probably more...
This is White Oak.
Yep, White Oak Buffalo Bayou
White Oak
watershed.
Buffalo. So here's White Oak. So if a drop of rain falls, if a drop of rain falls here, it ends up in White Oak Bayou. And then here's, go back to that one. So that's
so this is the Attucks Reservoir.
Okay, so all of this ends up in Attucks, which eventually ends up in Buffalo Bayou.
Yes.
These are little bayous out here in West Harris County that became bank full in many cases last night. So when we're talking about flooding and we're watching the bayous, you know, we're doing it. We're actually digging in, and we've got this map where we actually look at the watersheds and the bayous, and it is at the top of our list and top of mind because we know so many people live and are impacted by bayou flooding in Harris County. And so that's,
And that's Braze Bayou watershed.
Oh, hallelujah. They've opened I-10 at McCarty. And let me tell you, these are the happiest people right now in East Harris County. You get a golf clap. Yay! That's been closed for 2 hours or more. So also an indication that bayous are beginning to crest and go down as the water is finally, they've got enough to open lanes here. So this is east and west on I-10, East Harris County, McCarty, at McCarty. That's McCarty.